So we started the class hour with a graph of a ball being thrown in the air, and we talked about all the key spots. Like this spot here was the starting height. This spot here was the vertex. This spot here was when the ball lands. And I just asked the kids to tell me the formula for that part. They already knew this, which was the vertex formula. It involves A's and B's. Now we'll get that formula out that actually tells us our A and B and C. All right, this one was x equals negative b plus or minus square root b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. And if this part right here is called the discriminant, tell me the three things you'd know. If d is less than 0, you know something. If d is bigger than 0, you know something. And if d equals 0, you know something. That's on the test too. It's called discriminant. I see all that stuff that's under the root, and I know that if it's less than 0, you're doing a square root of something less than 0. That can't work. No solutions. No real solutions anyway. If it's bigger than 0, you get 2 solutions. And if it's equal to 0, you get 1 solution. And if you're extra smart, you'll know something. One solution, that is the vertex. If you ever just get one solution, then that means your equation's solution is also the vertex. I want to make sure you get that. Here's one that has no solutions. Do you get y? It's got a y-intercept, but doesn't have solutions because it isn't touching the x-axis. Here's one that's got 2 solutions because it touches twice on the x-axis. Here's one that has only 1 solution because it touches it once like that, and that kind that owns only 1 solution, it'll have to be the vertex. All right, another important thing is this dotted line that runs down the middle. It's got a name and it's got a formula. Axis of symmetry, good. And what's the formula for that? Did you forget that one? X equals negative b over 2a. That's coming up a lot. It's at the beginning and the end of the quadratic formula. And over here, when we were finding this, the negative b over 2a came up there because it's on that line, see? It's on that line that runs right down the middle, so it's on the axis of symmetry. So that little formula is really for the axis of symmetry, and it's the x of the vertex. Okay, this is a very fast power review of kind of everything. Now, I'd be happy to stop and tell you more about any of these. I can expound upon any of these topics. Do you want to talk about the vertex more? Do you want to talk about the x-intercept? Did you get confused about how to write the equations? Do you want to know more about the discriminant? Do you want to know more about the axis of symmetry, or the 3 different ways that a parabola can have roots or not have roots? Any of those topics need review. All right, then this was a big deal. Oh wait, this would be a really nasty one because once you cut you take the, yeah, no, I'm gonna not do that. I'm gonna make this an 8. I purposely moved that one over because then it'll be easier to complete the square. This is the harder kind of complete the square, but it's not the hardest kind. The hardest kind has fractions in it. In my opinion, those are harder than this. I feel like you guys are doing pretty well in this unit, but that's a good thing because Tomorrow morning, I can't give you morning help. You know why? Because I only do it on Tuesdays and Thursdays. Today's a Tuesday, so tomorrow's a Wednesday, so I don't have morning help time. So your test, you're gonna have to do it by yourself. If you needed extra help tonight, you could go back and watch review videos. It's a way. All right, did you factor out the 4? Because if you can factor it, you should. Now, I realized I didn't leave myself enough room with that parenthesis there, so I'm going to make it again. I'm going to bring this plus 1 down. And then, half of 4 is 2. 2 squared is 4. Plus 4 minus 4. Now, really easy to screw this up right now, because I left something important out on purpose. Where's my mess up? Yes?
Isn't, like, on the inside, isn't that supposed to be a 1?
Okay, wait. One thing at a time. On the inside. In here, you mean?
Yeah, where the 4 is, isn't that supposed to be a 1?
All right, so we factored a 4 out of this, and we factored a 4 out of that. So that is supposed to be that blue 2x.
Yeah.
That is supposed to be a 2x.
No, on the right.
Oh, the green number. Okay. Yes, there's mistakes all over the place. I was honestly making a mistake on purpose. You've caught some of the mistakes. So the half of 2 is 1, 1 squared is 1, and a minus 1. Now, I'm going to get my final answer, and there's still something wrong. Because that 4 got taken out, so when you multiply it back in, you'd have a positive 4. This has to also be scaled up because those 4s are supposed to cancel each other out. This 1 and this minus 1 wouldn't cancel each other out unless you multiply by 4, so you are correct. And now I've got negative, let me think, negative 4 plus 1 is negative 3. Now I think I'm right. Who got the same thing as me? Okay, good. Now why do you even do that? What's the point?
Wait, isn't it x plus 1?
Oh, wait.
On the inside?
Oh, there's a mistake. Good catch. That was a just plain mistake because when I changed the 4 to a 1, I didn't ever go back and fix this. That has to change that then too. Yes. Okay. I know some of you didn't even notice that. I forgive you. I forgot it myself. But now that we fixed the 1, and 1 is the square root of 1, now I actually think it's really right. All right, so why did we do that? What was the point of that? Why do you complete the square? To find the vertex. Do you get that in the context of a ball going up in the air, the vertex is a big deal? All right, so imagine for a second we found this vertex. I'm gonna be doing a different problem for a second. I find the vertex and it's at 2, 16. In the context that this is time and this is the height of a ball, I need you to understand what the 2 and the 16 are. So, time is in seconds. Height is in meters. What is the 2? Is it how many chickens you own? Don't say it. Don't say it. I want you to write down what's that and what's that. If all you know is, I got the vertex, but you don't know what it is, that's kind of not being real helpful on your test. What is that thing? It's 216. Is it like 2 chickens gave me 16 eggs? No. Figure out what it means. Don't say it. Okay, talk to the kid next to you about what they mean. All right, Dice of Destiny have told me to call upon Elizabeth Reed. What does the 2 mean?
That's 2 seconds.
2 seconds. What happened at 2 seconds?
It reached the max height.
And what's the 16?
The height.
The height. 16 what?
60 meters.
Meters. There you go. Okay, good. Now, let's say I told you that was 3.4. What is it? Read.
It's the time it was hitting the ground.
The time that the ball hit the ground. All right. You've just completed the square and you got this. How could you turn it into a different thing than the vertex? Sure, it's handy to have a vertex sometimes, but it's also sometimes handy to find the, what could it also find for you? Yes. The x's, the x-intercepts. So if I want the x-intercepts, Adriana, what would I have to do? Set the y to 0. Good. Mark, first step.
You would put the 1, so -1 on both sides.
I agree. Or put the 1 on the other side was also correct. Frank, next step.
Then you like square root both sides.
Correct. And then Colin, you noticed something, I hope.
It's a negative inside the square root.
And therefore,
It's imaginary.
imaginary. What is the square root of -1? I, or 1i. Either way, that's I. And then, Ethan, this next part right here, tons of kids are going to mess up. What would you put?
Absolute value.
Yes. Everybody solve it to get the final answer then. And since it's imaginary, you should know this doesn't have x-intercepts. Noah, x plus 4 equals I is how I start. Now what?
Subtract 4.
Wait, now do the other equation first.
X plus 4 equals
Yes. Good. Now we can add or subtract 4 from everything. And if you wanted to, you could combine them and say -4 plus and minus I. Not necessary. You can leave them separate. Which one of those is imaginary? Both of them. What if you're doing a problem about time and one of the answers is -0.2? What does that mean? Maybe you would have gotten this one wrong. Look. Do you get that if you had a starting height of here, your parabola is going to have 2 x-intercepts. This one's just a negative, and that would be negative time. And do you remember me telling you that we can't have negative time? It's kind of like going back in time. So we just say that that's not a real solution then. That's called an extraneous solution. It's a solution it's a thing. It makes some sense because it's on the graph, but you would not want to say that that's when the ball hit the ground, right? This one's the one where the ball hit the ground. That one gets thrown out as like kind of irrelevant because the ball actually launched in the air at this height. It never touched the ground at the beginning of this experiment. It only touched the ground at the end. So when you get 2 answers for your x, you have to throw out a negative one because negative time doesn't make any sense. Do you get the quadratic formula will usually give you 2 answers? You know, it gives you a plus and a minus, right? and one of your answers comes out negative, when you just solve this, you'll get two answers. Don't freak out when one of them doesn't make any sense because you got negative. And a negative x means a negative time, and you're talking about this answer, which can't exist. All right, now, we talked about everything you'd need to know to be able to rock this next test. So how would you prepare for this next test? Well, in this class, we always give you a review sheet for the test. When you get high enough up, like when you get to like AP Calc, they just say, well, look over your notes, test is tomorrow. At least here you have a thing you can do. You can go do the review sheet. All right, so let's open that up right now. So go take a look, see what's in there for today, Tuesday. It's got a review. It's got the solutions for the review. It's got quadratics B review and quadratics B solutions. You have a feast of things you could do to practice, and this is going to kill some of you. I'm not going to assign any of it. What? We don't have to do anything? No, but you should. So in other words, I'm not collecting any of this. You're all grown up now. You only should do this stuff because you want to practice it. So do what you think you should do to practice it. Now some of you are like, I'm going to do nothing. Okay? It's your life. Then you might get a C on the test where you could have had an A. All right? So do as much as you need. If you know you're a straight A student and you're like, I know this kind, I know this kind, I know this kind, then don't waste your time on them. You've gotten A's on all my tests. And you don't need to practice these, so don't do these. Find one or two that are like, ooh, I don't like that. Looks scary. Then that's the one you should do. All right. So you have tons of stuff you could do to practice. Do what you feel like you should, and none of it's going to be graded. So now it's up to you. Study what you need to so that you can rock this test tomorrow. And that's all I got for you for today. You can come up and ask me lots of questions. I hope you do.